Welcome back to Conquest Creations and to Game 2 of the Conquest Champions League. In this game we have a competitive match between an Isengard horde led by Lurtz, Vrashku and a captain going up against the Army of the Dead led by ARagor, King Alessar, the King of the Dead and a Herald of the Dead. One of these armies is high model count with high strength and the other one is low model count but causes terror. It's PJ versus Nathan in Game 2 of the Conquest Champions League. In the Conquest Champions League, I've taken 8 tournament veterans and pitted them against each other in an elimination style tournament. In Game 1, we saw Alex's Haradrim go up against Sean's Rangers. I won't spoil anything, but whoever wins this game between PJ and Nathan will go up against the winner of Alex and Sean. So if you haven't seen that game yet, make sure to check it out after you watch this one. In Game 3, we're going to see Tyler using the High Kings of the Last Alliance going up against David with his Menagerie from Mordor. And then finally for the first round, Game 4, we'll have Jeremy's Lake Town going up against Marcus's Easterlings. I asked you guys, the viewers, who you thought was going to win this match, and PJ is the favorite going into it with 63% of viewers thinking that PJ is going to win. Are they going to be correct? Well, you'll have to watch to find out.
What up guys, it's PJ here. This is the round 1 for the Conquest Creations Champions League Season 3. For the tournament, I'm going to be using King Alessar and some Fountain Court Guard, along with the King of the Dead, a Herald of the Dead, and some troops. Today, I've been matched up against Nathan, and he's brought a horde of Uruks. Now, I've played Nathan a couple of times, and he does like a horde army. I know he's very, very good with them.
Hey guys, Nathan here. Today I'm bringing Isengard. I've got Lurtz, a captain, and some boys. So today I'm playing PJ. Played him quite a few times before. We've got very different play styles. He likes small armies, choke points. I like being aggressive, horde armies overwhelming. So I'm going to try and use the terrain, get around him, trap, and try and get his numbers down.
For today's game, I've chosen the scenario to be capture and control, which means there's 5 objectives on the battlefield, and at the end of the game, if you control them, they're worth 2 points each. To control them, you just need to have tagged them at some point previously in the game. You also score 1 point for wounding the enemy leader, and 1 point for breaking the enemy. This should be a close one, and we're playing on the Kingdom of Direct Deep Terrain. This episode of the Conquest Champions League is brought to you by Frontier Wargaming. Frontier Wargaming make high-end cases and setups for your miniature painting. As you can see next to me here is my own Frontier Wargaming case with the Conquest Creations logo engraved on it. Now I'm sure you hear YouTubers say all the time that they've been using a product well before they were sponsored by it. But for this case, it actually is true. I've owned this thing for well over a year now, and you can see it in the background of this video that I posted just over 5 months ago. I am always on the go between the studio and home to do hobby projects, and this case makes it really, really easy. If you don't have space for a permanent hobby setup, then one of these cases is the perfect alternative as well. You can just get it out, pop it on a table, open it up, and your setup is there, good to go every single time. I seriously endorse these cases, and if you want to go and find them, you can just check the link in the description down below. Thank you for the support, Frontier, and let's get back to the video. If you would like to see the players' full army lists, then you can check out this video in the top corner, or simply follow the link in the description to our website. And as they're deploying their armies, they're just making 2 large battle lines that are going to face off from each other. The King of the Dead goes down next, and he brings all of the Warriors of the Dead with him, so this is most of PJ's army down, and Nathan went with his next warband wide on the flank so that he can get one of those objectives and send some models to attack PJ's back objective. ARagor, the King, went down with those all-important Fight for Fountain Court Guards, and Nathan just finished off by lining up Uruks in front of them. The first turn priority roll went to the evil side, meaning we can start turn 1.
Would you like to call anything, PJ?
Nah, go for it.
Beautiful.
And with that, it goes to Nathan's move phase. Now, the big deal here is the Army of the Dead caused terror. So to charge in, he has to pass some courage checks. And unfortunately, he did fail a few. The good thing is, if he only gets a few in, he can support them with those pikes to make sure he still gets a lot of attacks in combats. On the other side, he wasn't quite within 6 inches, so he just pushed up full into this space with a captain and some warriors. And in the center, rather than charging and failing his courage checks, he decided to just push forwards and sit on that central objective and get a ton of pikes and the banner behind his troops, so hopefully he can win those fights.
First thing is going to move my model back to tag this objective, and it will stay mine until Nathan comes and tags it himself. So that'll hopefully stay put, and then I'll send another guy to collect the other one.
And in PJ's move, he's just stacking the combats in his favor. Because Nathan's already moved, he can't respond, so PJ's just trying to get his heroes onto some easy targets. And importantly, he's charging ARagor in. ARagor still has his free point of might this turn, so he should be able to put some damage on and call a heroic combat in there to get even more kills. And PJ's also going for this second objective that's inside the Dwarven Brewery. And here we are at the end of the move phase. What's the thoughts, boys?
I had to move ARagor from where he was into the center to avoid that flank and make sure I get the 6-inch banner, and then also try and get some troops to capture the objectives early on.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go a bit heavy hand on this left flank and try and kill those guys and wrap around and possibly get some traps. So I'm calling heroic accuracy here. I stuffed up a little bit. I should have moved these guys back, but I'm hoping to try and get into Aragorn's combat with the re-rolls in the ways and try and take Aragorn off his horse. If not, possibly try and kill maybe 2 Army of the Dead, maybe.
Now, I totally think it's a great idea to do everything you can to get Aragorn off his horse, but I just think there was too many in the ways to justify calling the heroic accuracy here. It's a niche heroic action, and unfortunately, it didn't work out this time for Nathan. And that takes us into the combat phase, where our players are declaring heroic actions.
So Aragorn is in this fight with 1 warrior, the king, and 2 spears. I'm going to call a free heroic combat with Aragorn.
Isengard 6, please. Oh, loves it. That makes me so happy.
So you've got 2 warriors, 3 warriors, and a banner reroll.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty of dice to come.
Alright, and a banner reroll.
So, is that a point of might at Aragorn?
The issue is that the combat isn't actually that effective because I can't really move anywhere. But 2 strength 4s coming at Aragorn's horse, I think you'll lose it.
He does have Horse Lord.
Yeah, I'm going to spend it.
Roll into wound, let's see it. Yeah,
Dead. Yep.
that was about 10% of the dice, and he's very dead.
Absolutely.
Now, it certainly wasn't ideal for PJ to have to spend his point of might there, but he has a ton of resources, and I understand the need to keep Aragorn on his horse to keep his momentum going. With that heroic combat, PJ just used it to reposition the King of the Dead and get an extra warrior into a fight. In the rest of the combats, the Uruk are able to win fights, but they need 6s to wound here, which means it's pretty tough, and the Army of the Dead only need 4s to wound because the Uruk-hai are courage 3, and they have -1 courage, and the Blades of the Dead special rule means the Army of the Dead strike at their courage rather than their defense. That being said, the Army of the Dead are only fight 3, so while Nathan is able to win the fights, he's struggling to get kills when he does win the fights, and when he loses them, he almost always dies. The last fight is Aragorn fighting 2 Uruk-hai pikemen and a banner who's pike supporting. Let's see it. Ooh.
I'm on a 5.
I'll banner.
You watch the Gandalf 6. Oh,
On a 5.
Alright,
I'm going to use my banner.
See if you can hit that 6.
6.
Oh, okay, so it goes to Aragorn.
First one, dead. Second one, dead.
Nice. And at the end of the turn, Nathan is able to claim 2 of the objectives for capture and control, while PJ is able to capture the other 3. Of course, it only matters who's holding these at the end, but this is a good start for the good side. And this turn's priority went to the good side. Nathan, what happened?
Yeah, look, I wanted to win priority, but I think I'm going to have to call a heroic move because I will lose that banner, and I will need that banner.
And I'm counter calling with Aragorn's free heroic might because I want that banner.
1, 2, 3 evil, 4, 5, 6 good.
4, 5, 6 good.
Goes to the good side. I don't actually think that it's a bad thing for Nathan that he lost this. That's because these Army of the Dead all are going to charge into his guys, which means that Nathan won't fail any courage tests for charging because, well, they're already engaged in combat. Aragorn getting his charge bonus is never ideal, but he's probably going to kill what he's fighting anyway, so in this case, if Nathan can just screen it out, it might end up being pretty similar to how it would have been otherwise. And with the rest of PJ's move, he's just advancing, clashing into the lines and charging into some Urukai, making sure he can stack the fights in his favor to hopefully get some kills. He had Aragon dead center of his army, which was really helpful.
So I'm going to move Lurtz back here, and I want to open up this channel, and I'm going to call Heroic Accuracy again and try and pelt Aragon with crossbows.
Nathan seems really eager to get Aragon off his horse, and don't worry, I totally agree that that's a great option. I'm just worried that he might be committing too many resources to it. Aragon can kill stuff quickly regardless, and your might is going to stop him and make him slower, so maybe it's worth saving it rather than spending it on a low odds Heroic Accuracy. And Nathan is getting some guys in behind the pike to make sure he can pass it off when he dies. I'm just worried he might be leaving a gap there for when Aragon calls a heroic combat. Over on the flank, the Urukai Berserker had no troubles getting in, and same with the captain, so hopefully he can get some kills.
With the movement all over, that takes us into the shooting phase. Nathan, what's happening?
Rashi's going to call a Heroic Accuracy, and now I don't have as many in the ways, so I'm hoping I can actually possibly do a wound on Aragon's horse or try and get some might or fade out of him. Cool, let's go. Not great. Really not great. Hits the combat.
Yep, hits good.
Which is good. So now I've got it up or down. Up. Oh.
And that's a wound on Aragon.
It's a wound on
I'll take
Aragon.
that.
I'll spend 1 fate from Aragon. I'll just take the wound.
Alright, so that will concede a VP to Nathan.
Yeah, look, I'm happy with that. I did want to probably try and get the horse. I'm shattered, only got one crossbow to go off. But, yeah, beggars can't be choosers, so...
It was interesting to see PJ save that fate. I think he's really worried about his horse as well. It's funny that one horse is making such a big difference this game. Unfortunately, the rest of Nathan's shooting wasn't able to get any more kills.
That takes us into the combat phase. Are there any heroics to declare?
It's a negative.
Yes, I will be calling a heroic combat with the King of the Dead, and because the Herald is within 3 inches, I can use one of the Herald's will points.
I'm going to shield then.
Go for it.
On a 5. Gandalf 6.
Needing 3s on the white dice, 4s on the other dice. Gets it. He's a very dead boy. I'm just going to go and tag that pikeman so I can absolutely get the kill on the banner.
And this was well played by PJ. That means that Aragon goes in and kills that banner and there's no one left to pass it off to. It also means if he wants, the King of the Dead can go after Lurtz next turn. And down the lines, the wins and losses in the fights were relatively even, and Nathan managed to get his first kill. Urukai are not used to wounding on 6s. Usually their high strength means that they're always wounding on 5s or 4s. And the Army of the Dead are able to rip through the heavy armor thanks to striking against their courage. And it's causing Nathan to take some heavy losses this turn.
And next turn's priority went to Isengard. PJ, what did you do?
Again, I'm going to call a heroic move with the King, and I will use the Herald's will point.
Alright, so that's the King of the Dead, not the King of Lesser?
Yeah, look, Lurtz isn't in a great position, so I've called a move with Rashku here, and hopefully I can win the roll-off and try and move a bit over to block.
Alright, let's see the roll.
Cool. That's huge.
Goes evil, so Rashku to move first.
Absolutely.
And it's great for Nathan that he was able to get this one and move, and Vasco was actually in a pretty good spot, able to help out most of the troops around him. And importantly, the drummer went and tied up the King of the Dead to stop his heroic moves, and now Nathan has a little bit more freedom on where he can go. And he's really just trying to charge into the Fountain Court Guard as much as possible because he doesn't need to pass courage checks for those ones. And importantly, he's got 1 Urukai to tie up Aragon, so if Aragon wants to do more than that, it's going to cost him might.
And Lurtz just attempted a courage check.
Oh.
Rolled Snake Eyes. Failed courage check for him, he's staying still. Here we are at the end of Isengard's movement phase. As you can see, there's plenty of failed courage checks around the board, but ultimately still managed to tie up most of the Army of the Dead's force in there.
If you're a fan of what we do here at Conquest Creations and you want to see us continue to release videos, then please consider either joining our Patreon or signing up to the waiting page for our upcoming Kickstarter, The Kingdom of Tor Ithalas. Tor Ithalas is a city of noble men that are under siege from the forces of darkness, and you can get all of the buildings either fully intact or destroyed for your wargaming. Seriously, Conquest Creations needs your support to keep going in the way that we are, so if you want to see that happen, your help is greatly appreciated. And that takes us into the shooting phase, where Nathan had an interesting time. All of these guys over here tried to go into ARagor in the King of the Dead's combat. What'd you be doing, Nathan?
Yeah, look, it didn't go that well. I ended up putting a wound on my drummer and I just faded it. I was like, yeah, cool.
Alright. And then we had these two crossbows. They fight into this combat with the Berserker. What happened?
Yeah, I rolled down, got my Berserker, rolled the 6 to wound, and then I rolled a 2 on my Berserker save, so he is gone.
And with the shooting phase out of the way, that's combats. What heroics are being declared?
I'm going to call Aragon's a free heroic combat because he hasn't used his free might this turn.
Alright, anything from you, Nathan?
Negative.
So
6.
Aragon's won it on 6.
First time I got an actual 6 with Aragon without having to spend might.
And ARagor unsurprisingly made quick work of that Uruk. Now, he had lots of other guys in combat with him, which is really helpful because they can go out and fight the Urukai, and ARagor is just charging into the drummer to help out the King of the Dead. The King of the Dead doesn't need the help there, but this does mean that ARagor will be through the lines and kind of have free reign to wrap around Nathan's backline next turn. Next, around the battlefield, a Warrior of the Dead was slain by the Urukai, which is great because there's such low model count that any kill really matters. But around the rest of this flank, there wasn't much more action, everything just pushing back, nothing getting killed. Down on the other flank, the Berserker lost his fight, which is frustrating because the Berserkers are really the ones that should be doing all the work, and the one Urukai going for the backfield managed to survive. That drummer unsurprisingly died, and then the captain lost his fight, which is sad because he should be getting work done. And next turn priority went to the good side, so the Army of the Dead. Nathan, what did you do?
Let's call it a move. I'm going to have to do it, otherwise he's not looking good.
He's in a bit of strife there. And PJ, how did you respond?
Yeah, I'm going to call a move with the King of the Dead using the Herald's last will point.
Yeah, alright. So, there's a roll-off. Let's see it.
This is huge.
Goes to good.
Goes to the good side.
So I'm using the King of the Dead, and I'm not going to call with me and just take out Lurtz's heroic move. Now I can move the rest of my models as I see fit.
And that move was great from PJ. Realizing that he didn't need to call with me has just given him more freedom in the movement phase because he had priority. And he's just using that to engage as many Urukai as possible. The Army of the Dead are killing them quickly, so just keep doing that. ARagor did charge into Vrashku and his crossbowman, so he's going in and looking to do some damage. Vrashku is out of might, so it's not the end of the world for Nathan, but it's definitely a scary position to be in, and he decided to send the Berserker to help out Lurtz and then trap ARagor with that extra crossbowman. Importantly, that pikeman went for the central objective. These crossbows are staying still because they're going to have to be doing some shooting, and then around the rest of the table, Nathan is just engaging and charging the non-terrifying models where possible. And importantly, this crossbowman took his movement to go around the back, taking the central objective, and doing this move shows that Nathan is planning the late game. That takes us into the shooting phase. Nathan's got 3 crossbows here, going into ARagor.
Let's go. Fantastic.
1 hit's all you need. It hits your own guys. Doesn't kill them though.
Cool.
So in the combat phase, what heroics do we have to declare, guys?
Lurtz is calling a strike.
And King of the Dead will call a strike.
Alright, anything else?
I think that is it.
Nothing from me.
And as each fight phase occurs, it's clear that Nathan is losing the fight in this game. But this game isn't just about the fight. This is capturing control, and as long as Nathan can hold those objectives at the end of the game, he will still win this. Overall, this turn wasn't too bad. He took a couple casualties, but he did manage to win a lot of fights. The fight value of 3 from the Army of the Dead is really letting them down, so where they can have the Fight 4 Spearmen behind them is a huge advantage. And the next fight is ARagor, King Alessar, fighting a bunch of Urukai. Let's see the Urukai set the bar.
Huge. Oh, that's what we want.
All right, first I'll do my banner.
Come on.
Come on,
I
at least-
swear, if you put a Gandalf 6 dice in this, oh.
All right, I will have to spend my 3 and 1 to make that a 6.
Alright, so you've got 1 point of might left in ARagor's store then.
Yep. All right, at least we'll kill some crossbowmen. I think I want to break you, and get rid of those crossbows. So I'm going to target each of them by 1. So first of all, that first guy, he's dead. The next one round, not dead. Same guy, dead. And then I'll do the last two on Brasku. And he's dead.
One wound on rescue, so I have 2 fate apparently. Sorry, 1 fate. Fail, so I am 0 fate, 1 wound.
And the next fight is the King of the Dead fighting Lurtz. They've both got a heroic strike. Let's see who's higher fight.
Come on.
Oh!
Oh, huge.
Lurtz is fight 8, so he's in the lead here.
Let's do that.
Oh. That's gross. Yeah, see?
Yeah. So the strike.
So 2 strikes on Lurtz. Lurtz is courage 5 down to 4. I'm strength 4, needing 4s. That's 2 wounds.
2 wounds. Lurtz only has 1 fate.
So Lurtz is dead.
The King of the Dead has the Drain Soul special rule, which means each time he inflicts a wound, it will auto-kill his opponent. So even though Lurtz had 3 wounds, 1 of them got through and he's dead. Importantly, at the end of this turn, this central objective changes from being under the control of the Army of the Dead to under control of the Uruk-hai. So at this stage in the game, Uruk-hai is 1 model off breaking. Now they do have the courage test for breaking rules, so it's not the end of the world for them, but that means the game could suddenly end. And if it ends now, well, Isengard's in the lead. So let's see the priority roll.
3.
6.
You and those 6s just...
Right now, I'm losing on VPs, so keeping the control of objectives I already have is my primary focus, and then I need to take at least 2 more objectives to try and win the game. So the first thing is to secure up this objective in here and make sure that you can't come through.
And the rest of PJ's move just saw him getting favourable matchups over on this flank. And then on the other side, he's just stacking as many attacks onto one Uruk as possible, hoping that the other guys will just fail their courage checks. On the central objective, he is absolutely swarming that pikeman because PJ really wants to claim it. And Nathan is sending this crossbowman further around. He's not within 6 of the objective yet, but he's getting there. And elsewhere, he did fail a few courage tests to charge. And importantly, he's attacking this objective on the flank.
Move up here. Stay away from an inch, and I'm going to jump down on the objective.
And here we are at the end of the movement phase. The play of the phase was definitely that Uruk-hai pikeman jumping down that barrier. So Nathan will be able to claim that objective this turn, but he's not broken, so it can't end this turn. It's going to be interesting, and that takes us into the shooting phase. These 3 crossbows are fired. 2 of them hit ARagor. So let's see it from here. Can you kill that horse?
First one, up or down, goes down.
Now, is that an armored horse, PJ?
It is an armoured horse, needing a 5.
Oh.
15 points for an armoured horse, very worth it.
One more, up or down?
Up.
Up. Come
Yes.
on. Isengard hand. Oh.
I did see the hand.
I did see it.
So that goes into the combat phase. Nathan, are you calling anything?
Negative.
All right, what about you, PJ?
Yeah, free heroic combat with ARagor.
All right, let's start there. Ooh.
Oh.
5 is enough.
Cool.
First guy, not dead. Definitely dead. And then the rest on Vrasku.
Dead.
Vrasku dead.
Beautiful.
And that will break Isengard as well. PJ made the tactical choice after this, and he just charged wrapping around that control zone and going onto the objective because he'll be able to claim it if he can get those 2 kills. This is a big deal for scoring points here. And the next fight straight away is ARagor into those 2 Uruk-hai crossbowmen. Let's see it.
Isengard 6. Loves it.
All right.
I will banner. And I'll spend my last point of might to make that a 6.
So he is totally out of might now.
ARagor is completely out. But it's worth it because I'll take that objective. The first guy is dead. Second guy is dead.
The next fight was in the center of the table where this pikeman managed to get lucky and win his fight so he can continue to fight to contest that objective. Elsewhere, the battles just rage. The fight 4 from the Uruk-hai really helping them out, but that defense 8 is keeping the Army of the Dead alive. They're just so tanky with such high defense. The Herald of the Dead has been having a pretty slow game, struggling to get any kills, and the King of the Dead lost his fight this turn. So at the end of that turn, this objective in the Isengard backfield has gone to the Army of the Dead. This one here has changed to neutral because they're both in base contact with it. But this one in the brewery has gone to Isengard. So priority this turn went to the good side. Nathan, what's happening here?
The captain's going to spend a point of might and call a heroic move.
Alright, so he's just trying to hold the line and protect that side objective.
Correct.
Go for it.
So he pretty much gets everyone besides that guy there. He's going to attempt to charge that Army of the Dead guy.
Gets it.
So he's going to go into this guy here.
Yep.
Pike's going to follow him up.
And Nathan charged in as much as possible, but did unfortunately fail some courage tests to charge as normal. But because of the Isengard army bonus, none of his models fled the battlefield because he's not at 66% yet. Inside the brewery, PJ knows he has to do everything possible to try to get Nathan off that objective because that could be a lot of VPs in there. On the center of the table, if PJ can kill this guy, then he'll claim that objective as well. So there's a lot to play for in this turn. This model is one turn away from this, so if the game continues, this could still really swing in favor of Nathan. In the combat phase, ARagor called a heroic combat, unsurprisingly killed the one guy he was fighting against, and then charged into a berserker. Around the battlefield, the fights raged, and this model on the objective died, so that is going to be PJ's objective. And then the captain just pushed guys back, ARagor got a second kill, the Herald of the Dead failed to kill anyone once again, and the trapped Uruk-hai started dying pretty quickly against the Blades of the Dead. And the last fight for the turn is inside the brewery. If the Uruk-hai wins this fight, he'll push them off, and he'll keep control of that objective. Alright, let's see it. Goes to the good side, can you get the kill?
He is trapped, and a 4 will do it.
4 from the Army of the Dead.
Actually, 5 from the Fountain Court will do it as well.
So that will be the Army of the Dead's objective, because that is the end of the turn.
And this one here will go to me as well.
Let's see the dice roll then. The game will end now on the roll of a 1 or a 2. And there we go.
There we go.
Good game, PJ.
Good game, man.
And at the end of the game, Isengard controls this one objective for 2 points. The Army of the Dead controls 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is 8 points. Now both of them have taken wounds on their leaders, so that's another point to Isengard and another point to Gondor. And finally, Isengard is broken, so it is a 10-3 conclusion.
Whew! What a game. Good start to Season 3. I've ended my curse from Season 2. Great game. I had a really good time against Nathan. Looking forward to round 2.
Wow, that was an absolute belting. Yeah, it was not good, but yeah, thanks for the game.
And next week's match is going to be Tyler with the Last Alliance, led by Elendil and Gilgalad, going up against David, who's got a menagerie from Mordor with the Witch King, a Great Beast, a Taskmaster, a Drummer, and a Shaman. It is a thrilling game, so make sure you subscribe to see that one next.